I never thought I'd be that guy, sharing his marriage problems with strangers on the internet, but here I go. My whole life got flipped upside down, and I'm still trying to figure out which way is up. I'm Mike, 38 years old, married to my wife for 10 years now. Well, technically still married, but you'll understand why I say technically by the end of this. Laura and I met at my buddy Dave's wedding. She was friends with the bride, and we hit it off right away. She had this laugh that would light up the whole room, and I knew after our first dance that I wanted to hear that laugh for the rest of my life. We dated for 3 years before I popped the question. The wedding was perfect, not too big, not too small, just our closest friends and family at this little vineyard. The first few years of our marriage were everything I thought they would be. We both had good jobs. I worked in construction management and just got a promotion, and she was a paralegal at this law firm about 20 minutes from our house. We bought a house, fixed it up together on weekends, took vacations once a year, normal stuff. We talked about having kids, but always decided to wait another year. There was always some reason, wanting to save more money, wanting to travel more, and my wife wanting to get a promotion first. Looking back now, maybe she was stalling because she wasn't sure about us. Hell, I don't know. Everything seemed fine between us. That's what kills me looking back. We were not fighting. Sex was good, maybe not as frequent as the early days, but whose is? We still had date nights. I honestly thought we were doing okay. Shows what I know, right? It all started falling apart about 6 months ago. My wife started working late more often. At first, it wasn't that weird. She said they had this big case the firm was handling, lots of extra hours needed. I believed her. I didn't have any reason not to trust her, right? We'd been together 10 years, never had any trust issues. She'd come home tired, take a shower right away, sometimes wouldn't even eat dinner because she said she'd grab something at the office. Then I noticed she was getting all these text messages at weird hours. Her phone would buzz at 11 at night and she'd grab it real quick, or she'd get up super early and I'd catch her texting in the bathroom. When I asked who she was talking to so early, she'd say it was just work stuff, or her mom having another crisis, or her friend Jen going through another one of her breakups. Always an excuse. The first real red flag I noticed was when she changed the password on her phone. For years, we both knew each other's passwords, not because we were checking up on each other, just because we had nothing to hide. One night, I needed to look up a restaurant confirmation that had been emailed to her, and the password didn't work. When I asked her about it, she got defensive, saying she had to change it because her sister had been snooping last time she visited. She gave me the new one, but something about her reaction set me off. The next weird thing was her suddenly being really interested in her appearance. New clothes, new haircut, started working out more. Now, I'm not one of those guys who gets suspicious when his wife tries to look good. I was actually happy about it at first, even joined her for some gym sessions, but it was the timing combined with everything else that started making me wonder. About 3 months ago, my wife told me she had to go to a legal conference in Atlanta for the weekend. That Friday night, I was out with some buddies from work, having a few beers. I mentioned Laura was away at this conference, and my friend Chris gave me this look. He asked which law firm she worked at again, and when I told him, he frowned. Turns out his wife worked at the same firm, but in a different department. The thing is, Chris said his wife had never mentioned any conference in Atlanta, not once. That conversation stuck with me all weekend. When Laura got back Sunday night, I casually asked her how the conference went and which hotel they stayed at. She mentioned some Marriott hotel in downtown Atlanta. I said, oh, okay, like everything was normal. But inside, my stomach was in knots. The next day, I called the hotel she mentioned, pretending I needed to check on a lost item from the law firm conference. The lady at the front desk had no record of any legal conference that weekend. I felt like someone had punched me. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I couldn't shake the feeling something was wrong. While my wife was in the shower, I checked her phone. She'd changed the password again, but I managed to guess it, our wedding date backward. Not very creative. What I found made me feel sick. Text messages with someone saved as Mark W. that were definitely not about work. Stuff about how much they missed each other, couldn't wait to see each other again, how their weekend together was amazing. I took screenshots and sent them to my phone, then put her phone back exactly where it was. I needed time to process what I'd found, to figure out what to do next. For the next week, I acted like everything was normal while dying inside. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, kept making mistakes at work. My boss even asked if everything was okay at home. I just laughed it off, said I wasn't sleeping well. Technically not a lie. During that week, I did some digging. Found out this Mark guy worked at her firm all right, but not in her department. He was some hotshot attorney, divorced, no kids. 8 years younger than me with the kind of looks that belonged in a men's magazine. How the hell was I supposed to compete with that? I decided to confront Laura the following weekend. I rehearsed what I was going to say over and over, trying to stay calm, trying to be rational. But man, when you find out your wife of 10 years has been screwing around on you, rational isn't exactly your first instinct. Saturday morning, I told my wife we needed to talk. The look on her face, she knew something was up. We sat down at the kitchen table, that same table where we'd eaten thousands of meals together, and I laid it all out, showed her the screenshots, told her about calling the hotel. I expected denial, tears, maybe anger. What I didn't expect was a look of relief on her face. I've been wanting to tell you, like she'd been holding in a secret about a surprise birthday party, not an affair. I didn't know how. Know how to tell your husband you've been cheating on him? Yeah, I guess that's a tough conversation to start. I asked her how long it had been going on. 6 months, she said. 6 goddamn months. Half a year of lies, of me sitting at home like an idiot while she was with him. But then came the bombshell, the real kick in the teeth. She was pregnant, 2 months along, and she was pretty sure it was Mark's. Pretty sure. Like there was a chance it could be mine, which made it somehow worse. We'd been trying for a baby on and off for years. Every month when Laura would get her period, there'd be this quiet disappointment between us. And now she was pregnant with another man's child. I lost it then, started yelling, crying, knocked a chair over. Not my proudest moment, but I'm only human. She just sat there, surprisingly calm, like she'd prepared for this reaction. Maybe she had. After I calmed down a bit, she told me she was leaving. Not just me, but her job too. Mark had gotten a job offer in Phoenix, and they were going to move there together, start fresh. She'd already lined up interviews at a couple of firms there. They'd planned it all out while I was planning our anniversary vacation. I asked her if she ever loved me, and she said she did, especially at the beginning, but she'd grown apart from me. Said she and Mark connected on a different level, had the same ambitions. Translation, I wasn't good enough anymore. My construction management job wasn't as impressive as being a lawyer. Our comfortable 3-bedroom house wasn't exciting enough. I wasn't exciting enough. She packed a bag that day, said she'd come back for the rest of her stuff while I was at work. She was staying with her sister until they moved to Phoenix in a few weeks. Just like that, 10 years of marriage over. She handed me her ring before she left, like she was returning a borrowed book. The next few weeks were the darkest of my life. I called in sick to work for a week. Didn't shower, barely ate. My place was a mess. Empty beer bottles everywhere. Takeout containers piling up. I'd never felt so alone. My buddy Dave, the one whose wedding is where I met my wife, came over after I didn't answer his calls for 3 days straight. He practically kicked down the door. Probably thought I'd done something stupid. Instead, he found me on the couch in the same clothes I'd been wearing for days, staring at nothing. He cleaned the place up, made me shower, and took me out for food. Told me I needed to get my shit together. He was right, of course, but knowing what you should do and actually doing it are two different things. I went back to work eventually, but my heart wasn't in it. Everything reminded me of my wife, our house, which suddenly felt too big and too empty. The restaurants we used to go to, even grocery shopping was painful, standing in aisles trying to remember what I liked to eat before her. Because for 10 years, we'd shopped together, cooked together, done everything together. About a month after she left, her lawyer contacted me about divorce proceedings. She wanted to sell the house and split the proceeds, dividing our savings 50-50. Standard stuff, I guess. I didn't have the energy to fight it, just told my lawyer to handle it. What did surprise me was that she didn't ask for alimony. Maybe she felt guilty. Maybe Mark made enough to support them both. I didn't care at that point. The worst part came when I was cleaning out the spare room, the one we'd always talked about turning into a nursery someday. I found a box of baby clothes she had bought years ago, tucked away in the closet. Little onesies, tiny socks, a stuffed giraffe. I sat there holding those tiny clothes meant for a baby we never had, crying like a damn fool. All those years of trying, of hoping, and now she was having another man's baby. I called my lawyer that night, asked if there was any way to speed up the divorce process. I couldn't stand being legally tied to her anymore. He said he'd try, but these things take time. I tried not to think about what she was doing, if she and Mark were playing happy family already, picking out names for their baby. Word about our split got around pretty quick. Most of our friends were shocked. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. Even my soon-to-be ex-wife's parents were blindsided. Her mom called me crying, apologizing for what her daughter had done. I told her it wasn't her fault, but the conversation just made me feel worse. About 2 months after Laura left, I ran into her sister Kim at Publix. I tried to avoid her, but she saw me and came right over. She looked uncomfortable, kept fidgeting with her shopping cart. Then she dropped a bomb on me. My soon-to-be ex-wife had lost the baby, miscarriage at 16 weeks. Kim said she was devastated, that Mark wasn't being very supportive. Part of me felt bad for her even after everything. Another part, the bitter, angry part, thought it was karma. I'm not proud of that reaction, but it's the truth. The divorce was finalized 8 months after she left. I sold the house, couldn't stand living there anymore with all the memories. Got an apartment closer to my job, started going to the gym regularly, tried to rebuild my life. Some days were better than others. Some nights I'd still wake up reaching for her, forgetting for those first few seconds of consciousness that she was gone. About a year after everything fell apart, I got a text from her. She and Mark had split up. The miscarriage had put a strain on their relationship. He'd started cheating on her with some paralegal at his new firm. Ironic, right? She said she'd been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching, that she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, that she missed me, missed us, our life together. I stared at that text for a long time, all these emotions washing over me, anger, hurt, a weird sense of satisfaction that Mark had done to her what she'd done to me, and underneath it all, a tiny flicker of something I didn't want to admit, a part of me that still cared what happened to her. But then I remembered those months of lies, the secret texts, the fake work excuses, the pregnancy that wasn't mine. Well, I assumed it wasn't mine. I thought about how easily she had walked away from 10 years together, how quickly she'd replaced me, how completely she shattered the life we'd built. I deleted the text without responding and blocked her number. Some things can't be fixed, no matter how much you might wish they could. It's been 2 years now since our divorce. I won't lie and say I'm completely over it. Something like that changes you. I'm more cautious now, more guarded, but I'm doing okay. Started my own small construction company last year, which keeps me busy. Got a dog, a big goofy lab named Buddy, who's always happy to see me when I get home. I started dating again recently. Nothing serious yet, but it's a start. I think about my ex-wife sometimes, wonder what she's doing, if she's happy. I know, but I am only human. But those thoughts come less often now. They don't hurt as much as they used to. I guess that's what healing looks like. Slow and messy and imperfect, but happening all the same. If you're going through something similar, all I can say is hang in there. It feels like the end of the world, but it's not. Take it day by day. Let yourself feel whatever you need to feel. Lean on your friends. The real ones will show up when you need them most. And remember that betrayal says more about the person who did it than the person they did it to. Life goes on, even when you think it can't, even when you're not sure you want it to. It just does. And eventually, you start wanting it to again. At least, that's how it was for me.